And just when we thought all the iPhone SE rumors were dead, this comes back from the grave and grasps our throat and says, no, there could still be new budget phones this year. Or not, we never know with these things. This could be total BS. Very interesting last minute rumor, because typically, when there's only a couple weeks left before the iPhone keynote happens, there's not some, oh, and by the way, there might also be another iPhone that comes out. Bye. You never really see that. That's pretty rare. Now, earlier in the year, things are a bit more fuzzy, and you can't really predict exactly what will be coming out because even Apple doesn't really know exactly what would be coming out. So you can get leaks literally from Apple that are confirmed from high-end officials and high-end reporters that end up not happening because production hasn't started yet. So that's why earlier this year there was a lot of talk about this smaller form factor iPhone X looking SE that had no home button. The display went right to the edge, and it seemed that a lot of people were saying this was legit. This was really going to happen. And there was going to be 4, maybe even 5 new iPhones that came out this year, which a lot of you said was crazy, which turned out to be correct because iPhone SE 2 rumors have basically fallen silent. Everyone has said, yeah, Apple decided not to do that. They're not in manufacturing or anything, and there's definitely not going to be a refresh to that. It's most likely just going to be discontinued and then never seen from again. And that iPhone 5 looking boxy style iPhone will finally be left alone and will finally come to the point where Apple is no longer selling that form factor. And the rumors we're now getting right before this next keynote are not changing that, but they're very particular. Just a little bit of software code is building up before this keynote releases that is saying an iPhone that resembles very closely more the iPhone 7 than it does the SE, but this is a new type of iPhone. This is not just the same old iPhone 7 Apple is still making to this day, because we wouldn't get new leaks or new software code for an iPhone that's already in production because it would have been labeled as iPhone 7. But within this developer code, people are finding an iPhone that would have the same form factor as an iPhone 7, the same specs as an iPhone 7, and the same resolution as an iPhone 7. So as soon as I read that, I was like, what? Isn't it just an iPhone 7? What else is there to differentiate? If it's got the specs, the form factor, the screen resolution, what's changing? How is this news? Well, a lot of people have theorized that Apple may be working on, since now the SE is being discontinued and it won't be sold anymore, trying to make that iPhone 7, which once the 6S and SE are gone, will be the cheapest iPhone, even cheaper than it's already anticipated to be. Perhaps they found a new manufacturing technique that's able to lower the price of the iPhone 7, and maybe if they're going to be revamping this and calling it the SE for the people who still want Touch ID and don't really care about the bezel-less trend, you hate the notch, you hate Face ID, maybe have a very low-cost option for them. This is a bit of a stretch, but maybe this cheaper manufacturing technique means switching back to steel-enforced plastic like the iPhone 5C. No evidence to support that one, completely a theory on my end. But it does make you wonder, what code are we actually seeing? What are we looking into that's resulting in the iPhone 7 somehow getting refreshed, and some people saying maybe the iPhone 7S will be launched in 2018, and it will just be a regular iPhone 7, but they found a way to make it even cheaper than it already is, and then they can start the iPhone lineup at the price of $399 or $349, while still retaining a fairly powerful, A10 chip, 4.7-inch screen, and hopefully they don't switch to plastic and they can still keep it, aluminum as it is right now. Maybe to match the upcoming iPhone 9, this in my opinion is a much more plausible theory, they will be re-releasing the iPhone 7 in all of the same colors. So now, since $700 really isn't that budget, given the rest of the market, and there's a lot of companies that make smartphones intentionally less than that, like the OnePlus 6, Apple decided, the iPhone 9 is cheaper than the iPhone 10s, but $700, that's still pretty flagship pricing for a phone. So maybe they decided they should re-release the iPhone 7 in the same color lineup that the iPhone 9 is available in, and we've seen the releases with the iPhone 8 in product red and the iPhone 7 in product red that have gotten people's attention up again to go out and buy new iPhones. And if Apple now releases new colors for a more budget-friendly iPhone 7, as when they release this 7, it should be starting at the price of around $450. That, in my opinion, is a lot more budget. That's cheaper than a OnePlus 6. And while it is not the most feature-packed phone, it could still be, getting a fresh lithium battery in there, A10 chip, which is fast enough for most people. Cameras are decent. I'm sure a lot of you are watching this video on an iPhone 7 right now, and likely a lot of you are saying, yeah, it's fine. I got no complaints. A lot of people in my life rock that iPhone 7, but it would be the perfect budget option of 2018 because it would say, no, if you want lots of different color options and you just need something that works and is affordable, we have that, but also no headphone jack. It's still rocking the stereo speakers with the water resistance, so I think if Apple's going to be shipping a budget iPhone this year, making a extra budget iPhone 7, which is potentially what this is, would make a total amount of sense. And matching all of the color options that we're supposed to get with the iPhone 9 between blue, yellow, orange, pink, taupe, whatever new colors they decide to release the iPhone 9 in, also releasing it in the iPhone 7 just so that marketing can kind of pay attention to, hey, there's this new budget option, maybe they can knock it down another $50, and now you have an iPhone 7 starting at $400, and that's the cheapest iPhone you can get in 2018. I think that makes sense for the lineup, and it especially makes sense that Apple should cater a little bit to the budget market and say, hey, we know we're making really expensive iPhones, and if it turns out that the 512 gigabyte storage option with the iPhone 10 and 10 Plus ends up being true, that could result in, Note 9 pricing, $1,250, maybe even $1,300 because this is an iPhone. And if Apple's releasing $1,300 iPhones, they probably also want the market to know they haven't forgotten about cheap, affordable iPhones too. So that's my theories on what this new budget iPhone is and what exactly it means for the iPhone lineup and why Apple may be investing in it. And like I said at the beginning of this video, may end up not happening at all. There's a lot of misfires right now this time in the iPhone leak market. I'm still doubting the Apple Pencil support on the iPhone because we got that last year, never happened. They do it this year. They know that everyone's gonna do the same Steve Jobs joke, so this totally could end up not happening. But sadly, that bezel-less iPhone SE concept a lot of us were seeing a few months back, that's probably been left in the dust and isn't happening. I know. Bums me out, but I don't know, part of me would really be interested if Apple just made an iPhone 7 with like Face ID at the top. I mean, they've got plenty of forehead up there. You don't need a notch. Just put the 4 sensors alongside the earpiece up there. Now you have this like phone with Touch ID and Face ID, and it's cheaper with one camera on the back. There's like no wireless charging, but oh well. I don't know, wouldn't that be kind of like a wild card iPhone that kind of throws people off? It's never gonna happen, but I just think that would be interesting. If Apple just started equipping Face ID to the old style iPhones, like the 8 and the 7, it would just be weird, and I'm just brainstorming out loud. Anyway, if you like brainstorming and you want to talk to me on a more personal daily basis, we've actually just launched a Discord server just for our Patreon members. So if you're just donating $1 a month, $3 a month, doesn't matter how much, you can have access to that Discord server, which I try to stay as active as I can in, and we can talk in there and have brainstorms about lots of different iPhone prototypes and what may be coming out or not. Anyway, feel free to check that out. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.